Mark Anderson, a man, witnessed an extraordinary event while deep-sea diving, something he could never have imagined. Anderson had nearly 10 years of deep-sea diving experience. His camera had captured countless images of marine life, both large and small. But he had no idea that on September 9th, he would encounter a terrifying incident that would change his life forever. Like every day, Mark Anderson set out to dive into the sea, 200 miles off the coast of British Columbia. The sea was very clear and calm that day, though the water was quite cold, about 12 degrees Celsius. Mark slowly descended into the depths of the sea. He began capturing images of seaweed and small fish. Then, his eyes fell upon a small group of sea cucumbers. Mark decided to take some close-up pictures of them, but at that moment, he felt a strange wave push him. He noticed an invisible movement in the water. He could feel that a large creature might be swimming nearby. Mark thought it might be a seal or a small orca, as these were common sights for divers. But when he moved forward, what he saw froze him in fear for a few seconds in the cold water. A humpback whale calf, about 4 meters long, was swimming just a few meters away from Mark. Mark noticed that the creature's movements were very strange. Usually, these giant creatures don't behave like this. But that day, the huge humpback calf was jerking and moving, trying to catch the diver's attention with its pleading eyes. Mark thought it was nothing special and moved forward, ignoring the calf, but the calf followed him, circling around him. Mark took a deep breath, held his camera, and began filming the humpback calf's strange behavior. But the creature didn't seem calm. Suddenly, the calf swam very close to him and tried to touch Mark with its large fins. It repeated this strange behavior several times. Seeing the calf's behavior, Mark suddenly realized that the calf was trying to tell him something, as he had never seen such strange behavior from animals in his 10 years of diving experience. After circling around Mark about 7 or 8 times, the calf suddenly changed direction and stopped 20 meters away. Then, it turned to look at Mark, as if checking if Mark was coming towards it. Mark noticed that the calf's small eyes were filled with emotion, as if it was signaling him to follow and show him something. Mark knew very well that following these dangerous sea giants could be very risky, but the humpback calf's strange behavior piqued his curiosity, and he started following it despite the risk to his life. They moved north and went far from the coast. Every 30 to 40 meters, the calf would stop, ensuring Mark was following correctly. Then, they slowly descended deeper, and the seabed began to darken. The deeper they went, the dimmer the sunlight became, and the darkness increased below. After descending several meters, they reached a small valley on the seabed, and here, Mark saw something that sent chills down his spine. An adult humpback whale, about 14 meters long, was floating motionless in the water, covered with strange things. From a distance, it looked like it was coated with something grey. When Mark reached very close to the humpback, he immediately realized that these were barnacles. These barnacles, which looked like garlic, were a type of marine creature. They attached themselves to the whale's body to gather food, and the whale's huge body also protected them from other predators. Barnacles are often found on whales' bodies, but the colony of barnacles on this whale's body was no small group. They formed a thick layer several centimeters deep, covering its entire body except for its eyes. Mark noticed that the calf was circling around the huge humpback, as if caressing it. Mark understood that this whale was its mother, and it was very happy to bring Mark to its mother. Mark bravely moved closer to the humpback and saw that parasitic barnacles were stuck to its body, making it very weak. It could only move its fins. Just as a child brings a doctor for their sick mother, it seemed this humpback calf had brought Mark, the doctor, for its mother. Seeing the calf's trust in humans, Mark was overwhelmed with emotion. He had to save this dying creature and return the calf to its beloved mother. The barnacle colony had mutilated the creature's body. Their numbers were so large that Mark couldn't remove them alone. Still, with the sole thought of saving the calf's mother, Mark took out his knife from his belt and slowly started removing the barnacles. But they were so tightly attached that it was very laborious to remove them, and Mark couldn't remove them all by himself. Still, he managed to remove barnacles from an area the size of a dining table. Meanwhile, his oxygen cylinder was running out, and he needed oxygen quickly, or he would not survive. So, he quickly came up and contacted the coastal marine rescue team as soon as he returned to the boat, explaining the whole situation. They asked various questions, such as how serious the creature's condition was and how deep it was. Mark provided all the details and also mentioned that there was a small calf with it. After getting all the details from Mark, the marine rescue team asked him to wait for an hour, and in the meantime, Mark took oxygen and dived back into the water to check if they were still there. And when Mark went down, he was amazed to see the calf and its mother still in the small valley. They probably understood that Mark would bring help for them. Soon, the rescue team arrived. The boat had a total of 6 crew members, including 3 rescue specialists, a behavior specialist, and 2 doctors. Following Mark's directions, they quickly went into the deep sea with 2 more divers. The tools they used to remove the barnacles were much more advanced and effective than Mark's knife. They were able to remove the barnacles very precisely without damaging the creature's skin. However, this task took a long time, so they changed their oxygen tanks every hour. When all the barnacles were removed, the doctors examined the creature in various ways and found strange things inside its stomach. They decided to perform an emergency operation on the creature as soon as possible. They brought the whale to a marine rehabilitation center on a towboat for the operation. It was a very risky operation for them as the whale was very weak, possibly too weak to survive. As the whale was being brought ashore on an inflatable raft and towboat, its calf followed its mother from a distance of 1 meter. When the doctors started the operation at the rehabilitation center, they found something that shocked everyone. A large industrial fishing net filled with toxic chemicals was removed from the whale's stomach. When they examined the fishing net in the lab, they found that it was hardened with a dangerous chemical called tributyltin. When the whale swallowed the net, the chemical started dissolving in its stomach acid and spread through its blood, poisoning its entire body and slowly destroying all its organs, a process called slow poisoning. Imagine how your discarded items can cause such terrible deaths for innocent creatures when thrown away carelessly. Even though nets made with this chemical were banned in 2000, some people still use them for fishing. Its liver was already much larger than normal, inflammation was found in its tissues, its kidneys were in very bad condition, and its immune system was severely weakened. On top of that, the barnacles had infected its body. But despite all these hardships, it was still alive, which amazed the doctors the most. Perhaps it was fighting to survive for its calf. The calf was very intelligent and brave, risking its life to seek help from humans, as some people might have killed it, considering it a dangerous monster. After providing sufficient treatment, the doctors kept it in a recovery pool for the next 3 weeks, and Mark visited it every day. Gradually, the poisoning reduced, its blood circulation normalized, its immune system improved, and eventually, the helpless whale fully recovered. Then, it was released back into the sea. Friends, imagine if the calf hadn't come to Mark for help, we would never have known that its mother was in such danger. In the end, Mark's bravery gave its mother a new life. Perhaps the calf had sought help from many people like Mark, but none of them tried to understand its language with their hearts like Mark did.